There we go. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Wednesday, hump day. Here we go. In real estate, do we really feel like there's a hump day?
No.
No, I was going to say, I don't feel like I feel like it's just every day. Every day. That's the beauty of what we get when we sign up for this job. There's no hump days in real estate. Who's got a win for us? Let's get us started with some good vibration. Molly, what do you got?
So I have a listing that came on last week. We had open houses over the weekend. Had a Rovi agent help me out at those open houses. I think they got like 9 or 10 unrepresented buyers. We ended up getting 12 offers total, and then they got one of the winning offers or one of their buyers got the winning offer. So excited to work with our fellow Rovi agent on this one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we've kind of talked about, how do we get closest to the finish line, and doing open houses, man. These people they've left the computer screen. We are obviously a heavy leads-based broker. We want to coach our agents how to get leads, how to convert leads, but most of those people they're still in front of the computer, and the key is get in front of them, get them out in the wild. So open houses will always do that. That is a massive number of unrepresented. It's probably one of the higher numbers I've ever heard when you look at the ratio, right? So I've definitely had 9 unrepresented buyers, but that might be at an open house where you had 30, 40 visitors. So it doesn't sound like you have quite that many visitors. So be interesting. I wonder, are things going to change where now at open houses, people are going to say this as we start to explain to consumers that you've got to have an agent? Are open houses going to be more popular, right? Are people just going to wait to the open houses for properties? They're not going to sign with agents. That could be a leading indicator of what's to come. Anybody have any thoughts around that, or anybody else feel like they're seeing the number of unrepresented increase? I mean, I haven't read this anywhere, but sure would make sense. Anybody want to comment? All right. Well, I would definitely say it's time to up your open house game. I always thought, even if I get one person, if it's completely dead, but I get one person, because I will tell you, you guys know, if you've been in this for a hot minute and you do some open houses where you get 30 people, you can't build rapport with any of them. They're in, they're out, sign me in, get you through on to the next. You get one, it's been dead, I don't know, I would just put a smile on my face. I've got somebody, and I got somebody to talk to, and let me see if I can connect with this person. That would be my goal, right? I got this one person, let me see if I can connect and get them to start working with me. Obviously, we got to try and sell that house first, but any other feedback around that? All right, anybody else have a win to share? Bunch of losers, huh? Okay, I don't know if that went over well. Let me see. I would like to try and do a poll. It's our first official poll on the Daily Reel, and the question is going to be, are you typically in a position to look at a visual that I share? All right, so you guys should all have a poll now. I'm wondering, today I've got a visual for you on what I wanted to share, but I don't know if our audience typically, are you guys all getting the poll? Here come the votes. Everybody could just throw a vote in. I'm just curious how well it's going to go over if I share visuals on the morning call. Frankie says I don't see it. Anybody help him? Frankie, are you on iPhone? Are you on Android? I don't either.
I'm on an Android tablet. Like I saw, it just said you posted it, but I don't see where it is.
And are you using the app, or did you get in some other way? Like, are you in the?
If you click where it says activities, the three little like shape buttons. If you down the bottom, like where you're seeing messages, there's like an option down there where you can get into.
Activities. I got it.
All right.
I lost mine
Thank you.
because somebody was calling me,
Oh,
so I don't know where to
I
re-find
think
it.
a lot of people couldn't find it because now the votes are coming in. So yeah, I guess activities, the three shapes, the triangle, the square, the circle should help you. I think we've got enough votes in that if I do some visuals, most of you guys appear to be in a position to see it. So what I wanted to talk about today is the S curve of learning. So let me throw this up. Okay. So this visual up here, this apparently was how an initial study on how data spreads around, I guess, and how quickly it can get into mainstream media. But when doing some further research, it also tends to lead into how we learn and master a topic. And when I was seeing this, I felt like it's very similar to what we experience with our agents. We probably bring on more new agents, per capita here at Rovi than most brokerages in the entire country. So we deal with a lot of new agents, or a lot of agents coming from another brokerage where they weren't having any success. And so we do a lot of initial training. And when I look at this timeline, I think it's not just important for newer agents, but I think it's important for all agents to understand where you're at on this learning S curve, right? So when I look at this timeline here if we're looking at this launch point, to me, that is like 0 to 12 deals. I would say you're in the launch point. So it doesn't matter how much time, right? Even if you've been in this for a decade, if you haven't done your 12 deals yet, I think you're still in that kind of initial phase. You're still figuring stuff out. How does the CRM work? How does the MLS work? How do the forums work? And it can be very frustrating. You're putting in the time, you're putting in the reps, you're having the conversations. And for a lot of agents, they're not seeing a ton of success right out of the gate. We've had an agent do 30 plus transactions in that first 12 months also. I think a little bit of that was a different market for sure. But we've seen a lot of different results within that first 12 months. But typically, I think that's what kind of that is. It's somewhere in like 6 to 12 deals before you really start to feel confident in yourself. You know what you're doing. It doesn't take you forever to write an offer. And then it's maybe, 12 to 50, 60, 70 deals is that kind of that sweet spot. Man, you feel like you're learning. You understand. There's massive growth going on. You're really making a lot of progress. You're nailing down your listing presentation. You feel extremely comfortable with the buyer's presentation, and now you're just making the little tweaks, and you're just getting better and getting better and getting better. And so that can be a really fun area to be in. Then maybe when you get to 50 plus transactions, now you're kind of at that mastery. I always say it takes 100 transactions to really understand this industry. But I think there can be some frustration and some soul searching when you kind of get there of like, well, what else is there? Or, I need more training. Once you've done kind of your 50 deals, right, it's going to level out. This is the gig. And I think some people can get to there too and have struggles. So I'm seeing different struggles at different points. And I just thought I would throw it out there, kind of put some numbers around what is that launch point in real estate? What is typically the sweet spot where you're seeing the maximum growth? And then what is like mastery is, this is the game for the rest of your life. If you want to do this, it's having conversations, meeting with people and doing the follow-up. And it's just every year, that's the game, right? So hopefully you are somebody that really enjoys that. There's subtle switches that happen, kind of 50 plus transactions, maybe 5+ years of going pretty heavy, which is now you start to get a significantly higher number of repeat clients, right? Those first 3, 4, 5 years, it's all outbound calls, texts, meet people, go stow things, right? Do social posts. It's all outbound. And you'll get a couple trickles. Hey, in year 2, maybe somebody from year 1 sells a house. But if you think about the average time that a person keeps it's their property, it's 7 years. So it's not until year 7 where people that you sold in year 1 are kind of getting to the end of that. And so, we do see a lot of frustration out of agents, and then soul searching and like, am I good at this? Or do I need to make some changes when you get to that mastery level? And it really is, you just got to hold on and really start to refine your art, control your days more. The thing that does start to happen and what we try and lay out with our 4-year plan is, the deeper into this career you get, if you've played your cards right and you do your follow-up, you should be not only doing more personal business versus leads business, but you should be doing more listings versus buyers. And you can start to hand off the buyers or take referral fees on buyers, but there's no shortcut to doing listings. It's just, you've got to work with a ton of buyers, and over time, those people, come back to you and list their properties. The shortest way to do it on the listing side is to go FSBO and expired, and Kirk and what he does with Crush It on Fridays is the best in the country at that. So if you wanted to try and do that, you can. You've got to have a balanced portfolio, in my opinion. You've got to be willing to go out and do the buyers. And if you're going to get those few listings, like doing expireds and FSBOs, do those open houses, So that was kind of the messaging for today. I want to make sure that you guys understand this. You understand where you are in this S-curve, right? And just know there's not much more to it once you've done 50, kind of 60 deals. This is the game. Follow up, do a better job of following up with your clients. Try and get more listings as you got 50, 60, 4 or 5 years in the game. I'd love to hear from you guys now that I've kind of laid out what I've seen and what I've heard. And what are you guys feeling? Where are you in the curve? And what am I maybe missing, or what would you like to add to maybe somebody who's in a different spot on the curve? Let's talk how about somebody that's just in the middle. They're in the sweet spot. They're seeing the massive growth, talking about the launch point. What were some of the things that, you look back on and maybe to get you out of launch point a little quicker you could have done? Any feedback there? My mic is on, yes?
Your mic is on.
It's an interactive call, guys. Talk to me. Where are you? What are you feeling? Are you struggling with something? Anybody in launch point, you feel like you've been in launch point too long? It's just not clicking for you. Frankie.
Well, I think I'm still at launch point, but I think really my problem is I didn't get into real estate to make a ton of money. I'm home a lot. I don't go out. I don't meet a lot of new people. I don't have those 1,000 conversations a month. It's just a little harder for me. Of course, too, when I started this, I didn't expect I was going to have twins within the year. That was kind of a surprise for everybody around. So I'm home even more versus like being able to take my 3-year-old and my 8-year-old and drop them off to grandma's for the day, not worry about it, then go have those conversations. I'm just not doing that. So I really do appreciate the lead system and everything now. I've been trying to work those um, as much as I can and like the C and stuff. Um, Monday was good for me. Yesterday was pretty good. Did some calls, did some more texts, but I don't like. I talked to a buddy of mine who started this in December. He works for a brokerage down by the shore, and he's already done 12 closings. I'm like, what? That's fucking awesome, man. Like, that's how'd you do that? He's like, oh, I'm just out there, I'm hustling this and that every day, and I'm like, oh, you're living a life, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you're living the life, just having a good time with it, enjoying what he's doing. He's closed a $1.2 million deal. I'm like, that's amazing. You know, he started in December, so like, what's it, 7 months ago or so. But I think that's really what my problem is right now, and I pretty much known it for a while. Is I can't break out of it. So I don't know how I can do things differently to get to that point where I can make so many besides just sitting and calling and texting and emailing and all that. Um, I don't know what I can do to be in people's faces and like what we were talking about yesterday, just being in meeting people and seeing them over and over again. Like where do I do that? Like the gas station or the car wash. Um, we planned on being part of like the PTA last year and trying to meet people in town here, but that kind of just didn't work out. I didn't want to do that. um, but yeah, that's really where my struggle is. So if it has any tips
Yeah.
where I can do more, being a homebody or more person, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, but unfortunately, and this is just where I'm just trying to get a reality set for people. When you look at top producers in these markets, most of them are 10, 15, 20 years of business. So they've been having, dozens of conversations per day for a decade. So as a new agent expecting to get that kind of output, so that decade in the business agent is getting calls from conversations they had 10 years ago. Hey, you sold my friend a house. Now they're looking. Hey, you sold my family member, right? And so it's all inbound, but they put a decade of time into it. I was talking to one of our most seasoned agents, and it was like, this is an agent that pretty much has as much business as they need. And like year one was 1 transaction, year 2 was 2 transactions, year 3 was 4 transactions. Like that's a normal kind of old school trajectory prior to a leads based opportunity. Unless you have massive sphere, you ran another business, it's going to be really difficult to just, you got to have the conversations. Corey, I see your hand. You're muted if you're trying.
Sorry, I put my hand down, not the mic. I don't want to preach here, but everybody has had a job in the past that they didn't love every aspect of it, right? Some things are uncomfortable, some things are unknown. It's, you got to get out of the I don't want to and realize that you need to for this business, right? And how many times have you worked at a job where they tell you to do something, you didn't want to do it, but you had to stay employed. So I'm not saying, that everything is glamorous in the real estate business. It's not. But there are certain have-tos, and the have-tos are you have to get out of your comfort zone and talk to people. Time block, figure out how you can, find an hour here and there to make phone calls. Figure out where you can get daycare for inexpensive during the day. And again, I'm not telling you what to do, but it's some of these uncomfortable things are need to grow your business.
And where I kind of want to go with things, and part of the reason for throwing it out there today is just more transparency. It's not going to get any easier. Nothing's going to change. It's always going to be a conversations business, right? And I think a lot of people, when they get in, they don't understand how much outbound and how out there you need to be to have success. And that's okay. Like, they don't explain it to you, that they don't show you that on, $1 million listing shows, right? So part of what we're trying to do here is just be transparent. I've had agents that I can tell within 30 days, they're just not going to make it. So why stick around for a year, blow through savings for a career that it's not the career for you. I'd rather see you guys understand that earlier, or just understand, hey, you know what? I'm never going to be a top producer. That's fine. If I could do 6 deals a year to supplement, my home situation, I'm cool with that. All right, then let's just know that. But I don't want anybody going in thinking they're going to be a top producer without doing, the thousands of the reach outs. So, let's open it up for roundtable. I just want to make sure we got 8 minutes left. Let's see if anybody's got any situations going on deals that they want to share their experiences, or they need some help. Indy.
Yep. All right. So I do have one deal that is expected to close this Friday, but we're still waiting on the lender for the for clear to close. We pushed it from Friday to Monday, and yes, and we even pushed the closing. First it was on Thursday, now it's on Friday. But he kept reassuring me that, hey, I'm not gonna ask for any more extension. But I'm always trying to think one step ahead. Just want to make sure that the attorneys have time to prepare the closing documents. So just want to know how to move from here.
Yeah, I think the question that you want to be asking is asking that buyer's attorney who's going to be doing the closing, hey, what's the latest that you could get this commitment and still feel comfortable for a Friday close, and then just working with that lender. So just kind of working back, hey, if we get, clear to close today, can you still close on Friday? Can you get everything signed that you need signed, etc.? So that's the way I'd be working it back from the attorney to see what they need, then going over to the lender and be like, hey, can you hit this or not? I don't know if anybody else has any other feedback. While we're on lenders, I'll throw something that's interesting out there that was submitted from our team, our leadership team, on something that they were dealing with. And one of our agents representing a listing was getting a bunch of pre-approvals with the pre-approval amount blocked out. So if this happens to you, or if you're doing this on the buy side, I kind of wanted to tell you about the, kind of the pros and cons of why somebody might do that. So the reason, and I used to see this a lot, and I never understood it, but I'm going to tell you what the thought process is and why I personally think you should go the other way. So the thought process would be that I've got a pre-approval for $500,000, let's say, and I'm making an offer for $300,000. And if I show my cards to the other side, that they know I'm pre-approved. So what is right? I wouldn't be working with this client if they couldn't afford the house. I don't want to show them that they're pre-approved up to $500,000, because now, maybe they're going to say, hey, we're 300 was our best offer. Let's see if we can get another 10,000 out of these guys. We know they're good for it. They got plenty of room. So that would be the thought process, or the only one that I'm aware of why you might block out the pre-approval amount. I personally think you should go the other way, which is, I want to show you how strong my buyer is. We're not going to have any mortgage commitment issues. They can go up to 500. They're just not comfortable doing that. Here's where they're comfortable. Here's what they think the house is worth. And no, we're not going to 310. Yeah, they can absolutely go. They could go to 400 on this, but this is what they think it's worth. And you're not going to have any financing issues, where if you've got an offer at 300 and the pre-approval is for 310, and that lender missed an expense that they have, a child support payment that they have that they didn't document, whatever the case might be, we are not getting that pre-approval of 300. We're going to have a problem. The deal's going to fall apart. So me personally, I love showing how overqualified my buyer is. We're not going to have an issue. Any feedback from you guys? Any other reasons why you've seen or heard that somebody might be blocking out a pre-approval amount? Lohiv.
I don't block out the pre-approval amount, but I generally just get pre-approval amounts in like increments of 25 and use the closest one that I need. So if they're pre-approved for 500, I'd have pre-approvals for them, one for 400, one for 425, one for 450, one for 475. And just like if there's a pre-approval that's higher, I just verbally tell the agent. So that way I'm not giving out too many cards, but I'm also not telling them, that this guy isn't a strong candidate. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't do that. I would say, I would just tell them that these guys are solid. We're looking at properties up to 500. This is going to be a slam dunk at 400. And I'd come in strong. I wouldn't do the 425, but that's a great point of another strategy, right? Is instead of blocking it out, have the lender write lower ones. But as a listing agent receiving those offers, I don't want to accept somebody at 400, 410, 415 that's pre-approved to 425. I've seen those deals fall apart too many times. Molly.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. Usually I'll just give their highest pre-approval that I have. One interesting thing just wanted to share. I did have a seller once. We got an offer that was above asking, and it was like the buyers, like for their pre-approved amount. And my seller was like, "Oh, it's nice to see that they use their full pre-approval amount." So that's just one perspective that I hadn't thought of that was kind of interesting. But I agree. I think from a listing agent standpoint, when you're explaining it to your seller, like these people are gonna be very comfortable at this price, is the way to go.
So Molly, I wasn't following exactly what you meant there. So somebody was pre-approved for 300, the offer was for 300, and the seller was like, "Oh, they used the full thing."
Yeah, and I think that coupled with it already being above the asking price and the higher offer that we had, the seller was like, "Oh, it's nice to see that they use their full allotment, basically not going under what they
Yeah,
had." To them it said, "Okay, these people are giving all they got, basically.
they really
They must
want it.
really want it." Yeah.
Yeah. I think though, as listing agents, we've got to educate to go, hey, that's great that they're going all out. Now we've got to hope and pray that that lender got every detailed document possible, because one mistake and now they're pre-approved for 390 instead of 400. And now we don't have ourselves a deal. They back out because of mortgage commitment. We're back on market, and it's a whole nightmare. And there's nothing you can do with it. Sellers are like, well, what was the whole point of having a deposit? They can just back out. Yep. Back out, have your deposit back, and we're left holding the bag. So any other thoughts on this? This is a good topic. Forget who submitted this one, but thank you. Any other angles that we haven't talked about on the pre-approval that you can think of? Okay. Awesome. Well, great dialogue today, guys. Appreciate you. Go have yourselves a great hump day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Chris, did you have something quick, or is that a miss?
It's a miss. Sorry.
All right, no worries. See you guys.
See you, bye, everybody.